Jawanza Kunjufu, this book here called Countering the Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys. This book here is this guy actually looks like Drake, don't you think? Like baby Drake back in the day. Look, Drake in it back in the day, his baby picture. Looks like Drake, right? But this book here, and this was from the 80s, I believe.
Wow,
I think this book is...
And it's so relevant.
It's so relevant.
Right,
I am telling you, he breaks it down in terms of... When it comes to this book, he talks about destroy black boys because black boys are seen as the go-to people to attack first, because girls are they mature quicker and girls are seen as a lot smarter. When you look at the curriculum now, you look at GCSE results, African girls or black girls do better than African boys, Caribbean boys, whatever. So the boys seem to be the one to focus on because they're the weakest link. You always go for the weakest link when you want to fight a battle. And he says there's so many things that boys have to do when it comes to masculinity, it comes to broken homes, when it comes to sexuality, when it comes to so many different things. He says that they get attacked all the time, and that's how they destroy it. Because if you destroy the man, just like on the plantation where they used to dehumanize a man by tying a horse to each side and then rip the horse and split him in half. Or what they used to do is get a pregnant woman, stand her on a block, and then they used to get other pregnant women and children around. Then they used to cut her open and then have the baby drop out and then stamp on the baby's head, because the people that are watching, it's going to create trauma. It's going to create that little bit of a hormone in them that's going to be infused into the baby, which then the baby's going to be born in fear before anything else. So when you've got these people that they got tactics in order to get rid of people and to pump fear, they're always going to find a way to put it. That's why most of the adverts on on TV about Africa is a baby with a massive stomach, flies around their eyes. It's because you're like, oh, do you know what? I don't want to be attached to Africa. So you go to certain Jamaicans like, yo, you're African. They're like, why? Unless you're Rasta, it's like, why? Not even. It's because the vision of Africa has been so bad, which is about the miseducation of a Negro. So attacking boys was the first thing they wanted to do, because if you attack the power is in the men. The spirit is in the women. Spirit is in the women. Every revolutionary movement you can think of was because of a woman. You got the Haitian Revolution, which was great, and you had Toussaint Louverture, and you had Dessalines, and you had Bookman, but every single one of them had influenced by a woman. Dessalines was the soldier. He was just thumping up the French, just dicing them up. Like, oh, you want to come here? All right, cool. Come. We're going to hide in the bushes, and then we're going to show you how we get down. He was then taught how to fight by his mother, African woman. Yeah? You had Queen Nanny of the Maroons in Jamaica. She, again, was the one who was like, boom. You had Asante as well. You had Ghana when they was defeating the English. Again, it's a woman with a shotgun saying, all right, it's on site, who wants it? She was one that's leading the team. Like every revolutionary... When you got Martin Luther King and you've got him saying, I have a dream, when he's got that speech and he's in the Capitol, you hear a woman, there's audio you can hear where they try to mute it out, but the original, you can hear a woman in the background because he's talking, he's waffling. He's just saying what he wants to say. There's a woman in the background saying, talk about the dream, Martin. Talk about the dream. Then he goes. Yeah. And that becomes his prolific speech, but it's a woman in the background. The spirit, the essence is in the woman. The power is in the man. So when you've got the power and spirit together, you can't be controlled. You can't. So when you take it away, you have to take away the power first. Because women will fight. But if a man's in front, certain people are going to want to be like, whoa, maybe I don't want to rock it out with this person because this guy looks like he's kind of big and I don't really want any problems. So let me just stand up. So when you've got a black man protecting a black woman, it's they don't want to see that. They work their magic to separate that. They tried everything. They tried to separate the family by putting man against woman on the plantation. Then you try to separate the man by throwing him in jail. Then you try to separate the man by saying, do you know what? Don't cry. Don't be emotional. Don't even show weakness to your woman, because if you do that, you're going to be a wuss and she's not going to like you. Then go to the woman saying, you don't want a man that cries. What's wrong with you? Like, he's going to see you're going to, what? You're going to not cry and he's going to cry. Like, what kind of... So then you had the separation where you had a girl saying, women saying, do you know what? I don't need a man. I'm good for myself. I can protect myself. I don't need no weak man. Why are you crying for? Then you teach that to young boys, like they fall over and graze their knee. And most boys don't want to cry, but it's the fear of seeing blood where they're like, you know what I mean? You know, little ones don't cry until they see blood. So then you say to them, don't cry, man up and be man up. His balls haven't even dropped yet, and you wanted him to man up. How? Because that's what you've been told. And then so we don't have that security where men can express. And then men can say, do you know what, I'm going to talk to you like a man to a woman, woman to a man, and say, do you know what, I got some issues I want to deal with, you know, but I don't know how to deal with it. Let me get some of your light. Let me get some of your wisdom. So men internalize it. So then men get sectioned because of mental health. There are a lot of people walking around today, especially a lot of old men, that are walking around with undiagnosed traumas because they can't express. Do you see what I'm saying? Whether it's, I've been on the road and I've seen some man, like even if you had to lick down someone, that's traumatic. If you had to juke someone, you've actually had to feel the blade go into someone's skin, say you killed them. You didn't want to do it, but you just on stuff that day because you weren't breathing. That's traumatic. Then you go jail, you see some things in jail, or something might have happened to you in jail, that's traumatic. Yeah. Then you come out, and then you've got what? You served your time, you paid your dues, and then you must go back into society and do what? At what point did you get any healing? But then, if you go to jail, you're, do you know what I mean, 5 times more likely to go back in. So then you go back in, doing the same thing, boom. Or they say you do something, you don't go to jail, and you're just navigating around, and just like you can't express yourself. That's traumatic. Seeing some stuff, like seeing someone getting shot, your brethren getting shot, and he's there dying out. That's traumatic. That's crazy. But we don't even want to. Some people, when they watch adverts of sick puppies, Google it. There are people that have actually called and said, "Can you take the advert down because it's traumatic?" Just seeing a puppy, they're not RSPCA. It's traumatic. But the way they've worked it is so we can be desensitized, is plugging it and saying, "Do you know what? Black people are 2/5 of a human being." That's what James Madison said. He was the 4th president of the United States. For him to justify having slaves, he had to say we're 2/5 of a human being. Meaning, if you go outside and you step on an ant, you're not going to feel bad because it's an ant. It's small. It's nothing. It's not a real person. So who cares? Or if it's a slug, you're like, ugh, but whatever. That's about it. So for him to justify slavery during the 1700s, he had to say black men and black women were 2/5 of a man. So now we still got that same mentality. Like if we was on stage and we had was an audience and I was doing like a presentation and I showed a puppy being crushed to death, most people would cry and be like, "Oh my God, oh my days." And especially if you're not black, you're definitely going to be like, "Oh, what can we do? Who's that horrible person that did that killed that puppy?" And they will start to raise money like out of nowhere. There'll be a GoFundMe page, like there'll be like 50, 100K, like boom, instantly. What can we do? If I show the slide and say this person he was on his way home from school, got stabbed, 15 years old, Baptista, Stratford. People be like, man, knife crime's crazy. So anyway, alright, what we getting for lunch, man's ugly, What you saying? No one will do anything. The fact that we're in a situation now in society where a life of a young person is not taken as serious as the life of an animal, forget it. Forget it. The amount of money that gets raised for animals in comparison to the only time money gets raised for people is when it's time for burial, which is like, "Oh, can you help me? I can't afford to bury my son or bury my nephew or niece or daughter, whatever. Could you?" And then they might raise that 5K and then they can get the funeral done and whatnot. Other than that, there's no action because there is no need. Nothing's priority anymore. We're desensitized. And the moment we're desensitized from things that's happened to our young people, whether it be a boy or a girl, how can we call ourselves a nation? How can we call ourselves a people? Every nation cares about their young people at some point, or cares about their women or whatever. And we don't have that as black people. There's a